Erev Tov. We're in the Mesillas Perek Yutes, towards the end, about 3 pages from the end of the chapter. And to sum up where we're holding, this has been the past couple of weeks have been about Ahavas Hashem, love of Hashem, and he was Magdir. He defined what Ahavas Hashem means. Ava, in any kind of sense, Ava is an emotion that a desire to get close, and he says that it's the same as would be by humans as should be by Hashem. It's an emotion of wanting to get close, and he has about 10 different terms of that kind of craving and desire. Afterwards, he spoke about the reason is going to be not tluy b'davar, shouldn't be because you have an interest, some side interest of advantage or profit, but that he's doing it because inherently there's a desire to get close, which he explains like a parent-child relationship, which seems to be because they're really one, what we call biologically one. And he says the chiddush that applies to Hashem also, where Hashem's creations in a way that there's a natural connection between the Maker and the Avrohom, and therefore we should feel that connection. We should want to connect to Hashem the same way that a son would want to connect to his father. He says something about difficulties. When people have difficulties, so in order to evoke and bring out that emotion, even though things are going difficult, he said 2 ways to do that. One is they called like a low road that applies to everybody, which is Kol Ma'adav Rahman Al-Latav. Everything Hashem is doing is for good. So even if it's difficult, he should realize that it's for a good purpose. And the other one is that it's an opportunity to show the beloved how much he loves him. So even the fact that it's going difficult, on the contrary, because it's difficult, I have more opportunity to show that I love under difficult circumstances. After that, he said the 3 anofim, the 3 offshoots that are a result of love. When somebody loves somebody, there are 3 offshoots, and one is dveikus and simcha and kina, which we translated as being engrossed. I maybe had a better word last time. Involved, engrossed, enthusiastic. That a person is so involved in his love that he doesn't realize anything else that's happening. And he gives a mashal of Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas and Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa, that they were so engrossed that they didn't realize other things that were happening. And so too, a person is so engrossed in his avodah of Hashem, so he wouldn't realize other things that are might have interfered, might have interrupted. But it's not a question of concentration; it's more a question of being involved. The second point was simcha, which means joy and a feeling of shleimus. The person is accomplishing the fact that he's fulfilled. Fulfillment would be a good word. Fulfilled, shleimus, that he feels that this is his fulfillment. And more that a person feels that fulfillment, that's the feeling of happiness. And when a person realizes how great and perfect Hashem is, and he gave us the opportunity to be engaged in things that connect us to him, so that's the biggest shleimus and cause for biggest simcha. The more a person gets closer to Hashem, the more he knows Hashem, that is more reason for simcha. And many psukim brought from David, that David reached that level, and when he's davening, it wasn't like he was concentrating on davening, but like I said before, that it's a dveikus, a kind of an enthusiasm. Here it talks about the simcha that he had, that he was so happy that his lips would sing on their own. The last thing was kina, which literally would mean zealousness. And when a person loves somebody, he cannot tolerate to see that he's being disgraced or degraded, and he would come to his help. And that's a big chiddush. I think for most people who hear it the first time, it's a chiddush. The first time I heard it, it was a very big chiddush. Now I'm used to it already, but that the kina, to be zealous, is rooted in ava. We would think that it's rooted in some other kind of midah of hot-headedness or a low temper, but he says it's because of love. That a person loves somebody so much, that's why he can't tolerate it. Maybe there are other kinds of kinas also, but at least this is the way Mesillas presents it, that it's a offshoot, a branch of ahava. When somebody loves someone, he cannot tolerate that he's being degraded, and he'll come to his aid. He'll stand up for him. So too, a person cannot tolerate to see that Hashem Kavayachal is being degraded, and if somebody is mechalel the Torah or the mitzvahs or Hashem's name, so he's going to come and protest. That's as far as we got. And that so far we spoke about. Now he's zooming out, and he's saying so far in this whole. We finished Ahava. We finished Ahava. Just to zoom out and get the whole seder we were holding. He divided the whole subject of Chasidus into 3 parts. One is Maaseh, what he's supposed to do, what he's doing, and then Ofen Hasiyah, how he does it, and the third one is Kavanas Hasiyah, the intention of his doing. And that's how we introduced Perek Yutes, Perek 19. Perek Yutes, one chapter before, the previous chapter, 18, he said that the root of Chasidus is that a person loves Hashem so much that he wants to give him pleasure. Same way anybody that loves somebody wants to give him pleasure. As a child, husband-wife relationship, whatever it might be, when you love somebody, you want to give them pleasure. So you try to figure out what gives them pleasure. And he called that ladun al das hamitzaveh, to figure out from the one who ordered you something what else he likes. So even though he didn't tell me specifically, and he only said it one time, but I could figure out that he would enjoy this, I want to give him enjoyment. So that's the shoresh of Chassidus. And that brought us to this Perek, which it broke down into three, as we just mentioned. The first point was to be what to do, that he's going to broaden and expand on what he was commanded, and he gave many examples of that that a person is going to expand on what he's doing. Then the next subject, which we just finished now, was ofen asiyah, how to do the mitzvahs, and that's going to be yira and ahava. And the way he's doing the mitzvahs is from a state of awe. He said reverence would be the word yira, and love. And each one was divided into three subcategories. Yira was divided into boshas achna and kavod, that as an offshoot of having this reverence, so he's going to have submissiveness and humility, and he's going to show an expression of respect, of honor. And ahava, when he does mitzvahs with love, so it has these three offshoots, which would be dveikus, being involved and engrossed, and simcha, the joy that he has from doing the mitzvahs, and kina, which we mentioned last week that we have a problem with this one because it's not a way to do the mitzvah. It is an offshoot of ahava, as he just explained, but that's not. You don't do a mitzvah with kina. You don't do a mitzvah zealously. So we left that as a question. I didn't get any answer yet. Why is it in the subject over here? Maybe I know the place to put it, but it wouldn't be so much like the Ramchal. Usually, he's very systematic, and this is not a way to do a mitzvah. Just it is an offshoot of ahava, but it's not a way to do the mitzvah.
I have some people who are very kanoi to make some special mitzvahs.
But the kanoi, the way it translates kanois is that he can't tolerate to see that it's being disgraced, degraded. So how would that translate into doing a mitzvah?
It means that he can't have it that it's not being done.
That it's not being done. So I'm going to do the mitzvah because I can't tolerate that it's not being done. Like he sees that a mitzvah is being disregarded, so it's a bizarre to the mitzvah that it's not being done. So maybe he'll do it. He'll take up to do this mitzvah to stand up for the honor of Hashem. Maybe. So that finishes part 2, and then now we're starting part 3. This is the end of this Perek, and it's going to be kavana sasiyah, the third part of Hasidus. One is what to do, one is how to do it, and now it is with what intention he's doing it. You might call it the what, the how, and the why. This is the matara, his goal, and when he's doing mitzvahs. So I can't say exactly what. In my page is Kuf Chav Tes, but every edition is different, so it really doesn't pay to say a number. But it's about 3 pages or 2.5 pages before the end of the Perek, so more or less it should get the place. V'hinei, it starts the paragraph V'hinei bi'arnu. V'hinei bi'arnu adena Chasidus mashatoli b'maisa u'va'ofen asiyah. Till now we've explained in this Perek Chasidus and what is dependent on action. That was part 1, and ofen asiyah, how to do mitzvahs. That was part 2. And now we're going to start part 3. Now we're going to talk about what's dependent in his intention. The intention he has in doing mitzvahs. Is a kavanah a chasidus. The chassid has a different kavanah when he does mitzvahs than a person who's not a chassid. We earlier in the Sefer we spoke about the issue of lishma and shelo lishma. So if you recall, that goes back to tahara. The category called tahara in the Mesillas Yeshorim meant the purity of machshava, which would mean his intention, the purity of his intention. Why is he doing the mitzvahs? So over there he said there are different levels of shelo lishma, and maybe we'll recap that again also, that if a person is doing it just for, he's not turning to Hashem at all. He's doing a mitzvah, but he's just doing it for kavod or mammon. He's really turning to people. He's not turning to Hashem at all. He's not doing the mitzvah as a service to Hashem. He's misusing it. For instance, he says a mashal, not over here, but he says a mashal, I think, in his other edition, in the Vikuach, he says, if someone's going to be davening, because someone should see him. Someone should think that he's a tzaddik, let's say. So he's not really serving Hashem at all. He's davening, facing the Mizrach, let's say, but he really should face the people. He should turn around and because he's really doing a performance for them. He's not performing to Hashem, he's performing to people. So he says that's...
the coverage is only if he's serving Hashem.
But he's not really serving Hashem. If they would know what he's thinking, then they wouldn't even give him the cover at the moment. But he's fooling them. says, Ramos b'nei Adam, he's fooling them. So it's not really an avodah at all. And he says on that Noach lo shalom nivras, but he shouldn't have been created. That's not called serving Hashem at all. The second level was that he's doing the mitzvah to serve Hashem, but he wants that Hashem should reward him. So he is turning to Hashem, but he's doing it because of Hashem should give him a reward. He says that's not bad. It's not lishma. You might call it shalom lishma still, but it's a kosher shalom lishma. And then he went into detail. He went into elaboration on those two subjects over there, how to purify, make it tahor, that he shouldn't have any shalom lishma. But that's it is the treif shalom lishma, and then there's a kosher shalom lishma, but it's still called shalom lishma. And lishma means that he's doing it for the mitzvah. Hashem said that he should do it, and he's doing it. Now what if someone's doing it because he wants to get close to Hashem? He's doing the mitzvah because he wants to get close to Hashem. He wants the enjoyment of being close to Hashem. He realizes in Olam Hazeh there's not too much of it. Whatever is possible, but the real closeness to Hashem is going to be in Olam Haba, and he's doing the mitzvahs in order to be close to Hashem. So what do you say about that? Is that called Lishma or Shalom Lishma?
That's Lishma.
You say it's Lishma.
If it's for a reward.
Right, he's not doing it if he does it for reward, an outside reward. Right, but if he thinks in Olam Haba there are lollipops, whatever, ice cream, whatever we consider, or this word, if he thinks the same thing exists in Olam Haba, so then it's also Shalom Lishma.
Lishma, Lo Lishma is. So what is going to do a mitzvah anyway or anything?
That's we're holding. That's what we're holding now. Why is the person doing a mitzvah for?
Yeah, so you want actually want to get close to Hashem.
Right, so it sounds like Lishma. It sounds like Lishma. But here he's going to...
It sounds like Lo Lishma.
It sounds like Lo Lishma.
Yeah.
Because...
It's for his own benefit that he should...
It's for his own benefit. So here,
Well, what would be not for his own benefit?
what could be higher than that?
I don't know.
So here he's going to talk about the subject. But I think I have a good mashal that would explain the difference. Let's say you have a father and a son. Let's say a young son, so to make it easier. And the father offers the son, if he does a certain thing, so he'll get a bicycle. So the son is doing the mitzvah of the father because he shalom lishma, because he wants to get the bicycle. So he's going to get a prize of the bicycle. So the father is happy that the son is doing it, but you can call it shalom lishma. He's not doing it because of the father's commandment, but because he wants to get the bicycle. So the father, very nice, and he hopes that the son will grow up and get on a little bit more sense. Then what if you have a son who is doing the will of the father because he wants to get close to the father? Because he enjoys being close to the father. To being close to the father would be his greatest joy. And he's doing it because he enjoys being close to the father. I think the father would be very happy. The father would be very happy if that's what his son enjoys, even though he's doing it for himself. So you can call it on one hand you could call it that he's doing it for his own benefit, but if that's his own benefit, that the son's benefit is that he's close to the father is very happy. But there's even something higher. The higher one is going to be that the son is doing it because it's going to make the father feel good that the son is getting close to him. So he loves the father. Also comes from love. It doesn't come from no place. It isn't that he's being mevatel himself. If a person is mevatel himself, then he's not there. It has to, like when I say I love you, it always has to be I. If the I is not there, then there's nothing there. But that the son loves the father so much that he wants that he should enjoy the close relationship. So that's even a higher level. So that's what he's going to say now. That till now we spoke about shalom, shalom lishma, and you might say, I think that he's going to say that even when a person is doing it because he wants to enjoy Hashem's relationship, can't call it shalom lishma. It's called lishma, but it's not the best. It's not the highest. He's going to say it in his words that it's not bad, but it's not the best. I think it doesn't mean not bad. I think it means very good, but it's even better. But the words that he uses is that it's not bad. I think it's a very, very nice presentation the way he says it. But it's very high level already. Even the shalom, even this lower level is a very high level. But there's even higher. So he says, we already spoke about the Shema Shalom Lishma earlier on different levels. I think that was in the Perek of Tahara. Omnam Vadei Shemishem is Kavein Bavadaso L'Tara Nafsho L'Fnei Boro L'man Tizkel L'Sheves Espanav B'chlal HaYishorim B'Chasidim L'Achzos B'Noam Hashem U'Levakir B'Echalo U'L'Kabal L'Kmul Shashem Olam Haba. This is the whole description of a person who's doing it in order to get Olam Haba. So the way he says it is, a person whose intention in his service to Hashem is to purify his soul before his Creator, in order that he should merit to sit before Hashem amongst the other upright and pious people, to gaze upon the pleasance of Hashem and to be able to be in His Heichal, and in order to receive the reward in Olam Haba, he's doing it in order to be part of those people in Olam Haba that are enemies of Ashkina, basking in the radiance of Hashem's presence. So he says, Lo nuchaloma shetia kavana zura. We can't say that is bad. No, not bad. Aval achein lo nuchaloma gamkein shetia yosotov. That's not the best. That's not the epitome. There's something even higher than that. There's something even higher than wanting to get Olam Haba. Again, we said if a person thinks Olam Haba is going to have the same kind of enjoyment that you have in Olam Hazeh, so he's really an Olam Hazeh person. It's really a Manas L'Kabel Pras. That's a person doing it for his own reward, nothing connected to Hashem. That wouldn't be the case of Lishma. That's pretty much a low Lishma. If his idea of Olam Haba is just the future of Olam Hazeh kind of enjoyment, so he's still a Shalom Lishma. That's Amanas L'Kabel Pras. But if he realizes that Olam Haba, the whole Schar of Olam Haba is being close to Hashem, so that's the case, we'll say that it's not bad, and I think you can even call it Lishma. But it's not the best. Why? As long as the person is still intending for his own good, so he's still doing it for his own benefit. So you can't call him the epitome of Lishma. But the true intention, which is found amongst the pious that worked and exerted themselves to attain it, means even for the Hasidim it's not easy. The next words are saying that this high level he's going to go for now is for Hasidim, and even for them it's difficult. It's a high level. So what is that level? He's just doing it because he wants to glorify the name of Hashem. He cares so much, he loves Hashem so much that he wants Hashem's name to be glorified. So he's doing the mitzvahs in order to glorify Hashem's name. Only after a person, it's only possible after a person loves Hashem very much. And he desires and craves the increase of Hashem's honor. And that's what he cares about. He loves Hashem so much that he cares about its kavod. So that's even higher than a person who's doing it because he wants to get close to Hashem, because that's for his own benefit. Here he's doing it because of Hashem's benefit, so to speak. That it should be an honor for Hashem's name. When he's bothered, he's troubled by any minimization, anything that's minimized about this honor of Hashem. Then when a person reaches this level, he's going to be serving Hashem with this purpose in mind. That at least as far as the most I can do is what I'm doing myself. I can't change everybody in the world. I would love to change them also, but at least whatever I could do for myself, I want to increase the honor of Hashem. And he wishes, he desires that everybody also, that from other people, mitzad other people also, it would come also to the honor of Hashem. And he's bothered by the fact that other people are not doing it, and Kavachomer, when he himself also falls below par. And he himself is surely bothered when he is not able to do a perfect avodas Hashem, either unintentional or even when it's not his fault at all. But onus, there's a third thing he says. Either shogeg means unintentional, but it's his fault, and onus means that it's not his fault. And he's bothered even by that. Even when it's not his fault, also he's bothered by it. Interesting third category was over here, that a person, being that he's human, it's hard for him to be constantly on guard. That man, there's no man that doesn't err. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. Technically, it's not talking about a shogig or an onus. It's talking about that it's chulshas hateva, that a person being human, so it's hard for him to always be on guard and always be perfect, even though technically he would be able to. That's also included in this ein tzadik bar she'aseh tov lo yachta. So this is a summary so far of the Kavanas Asiyah. Kavanas Asiyah means that a person is doing avodas Hashem in order to give kavod to Hashem. My doing a mitzvah is going to increase honor of Hashem. Does this mean dafka when he's in public eye, that people see that he's honoring Hashem's name by doing a mitzvah? So even if he's in privacy, how do you understand these words of kavod? He's doing the mitzvahs. He cares very much about kavod Shemayim, and therefore like everyone should be doing mitzvahs and doing the will of Hashem and making a honor to glory to Hashem's name. But at least what's dependent on him, he surely cares about that he should do everything right and shouldn't make any mistakes. Would this only be only when people see? Would you think that the kavod Hashem?
Lav dafka.
You think even in privacy.
Privacy.
That's a kavod shemaim that he's doing what Hashem's right.
It's between him and Kadosh Baruch Hu.
It's also possible to be a kavod that if Hashem, he's doing what Hashem wants because of Hashem, that Hashem said he should do it, so he's doing it. So that's an honor to Hashem, maybe even in privacy. If it's in public, if people know about it, so then maybe there's more kavod shemaim. But maybe even in privacy, there's also to be an issue of kavod shemaim. Leave it as a question. If it doesn't seem to specify, but he's talking about his kavanah doing mitzvah, so it might be even in privacy. So that's l'chora. He explained himself so far what it is, that the kavanah, what is the kavanah of Chassidus? L'man kvodo asher yigdal v'yirbe. I have a problem with this that I don't have an answer, so I'd like to share it. Hope it doesn't get confusing, but I didn't find a good answer yet. In the previous Perek, which we mentioned last night when we summarized the whole issue of Chassidus, so he said that the motivation, the force behind all this Chassidus is that he loves Hashem so much that he wants to make a nachas ruach. His driving force was that he loves Hashem so much that he wants to give him pleasure. And he explained the mashal over there, anybody that loves somebody, so he'll figure out what gives him pleasure. And from the mitzvah alone, he could be ladun das hamatzah, what's going to give him more pleasure. So he knows that his father likes coffee, so he didn't even ask for a coffee, but he knows the father likes coffee. So he's going to try to get the best coffee and bring it to him and serve it to him in the best way, and it should be rich and aroma and a nice cup, whatever, however you could make the right aura for this coffee. So Hashem told him to do a mitzvah, so he's going to figure out from the mitzvahs what gives Hashem's pleasure. So the whole time he said that the driving force of Chassidus is because he loves Hashem so much that he wants to give him pleasure, nachas ruach. And now he changed the whole thing, and he says he's doing it because he cares about Hashem's honor, Hashem's glory. It seems to be a different subject. When you love somebody, I agree that both of them are possible, but I don't know why he changed it. Before, he said that introduction to Chassidus is that a person loves Hashem so much that he wants to give him pleasure. And therefore he's going to go out of his way, even if he wasn't commanded, he's going to do it on his own because he loves Hashem. So what's the kavanah over there? Lasos nachas ruach. To make Hashem, to give Hashem pleasure. And here, when he comes to the end of Chassidus and he's telling you the kavanah sasiyah, why am I doing mitzvahs? So he says he's doing it because kvodo sheyigdal v'yirbe. He cares about Hashem's honor, Hashem's glory. There's also a truth that, let's say, somebody that loves another, so he'll care to give him pleasure because he loves him, and also he'll care about his honor. But they seem to be two separate things, and I don't know where it switched. How come he started off with one thing and he ends off with something else?
Why do you think that she did?
Are they not? One is to give pleasure and one is to give honor.
No, well, the honor is addressing this issue of kinna. That's what this honor is addressing. That's why.
But it doesn't seem so, because that was, even though we learned one after the next, but really we finished the whole part 2 and we started part 3. I just reviewed part 2, but that was under the caption called how to do the mitzvah. So over there he said that there's such thing called kinna, but this issue of kavanah is not related to zealousness. It's going to be related to all the mitzvahs that he does. The mitzvahs that he does, he's going to put on tzitzis and tefillin and daven and keep it away. Whatever he's doing, he's going to be doing it with the intention of glorifying Hashem's name. So because he loves Hashem. Because he loves Hashem, he wants to give glory to Hashem's name. But that doesn't seem to be the same motivation as when he wants to give pleasure to Hashem. When you love somebody, I can understand that there are two driving factors. One is that you want to give the person pleasure, and you know that he likes whatever he likes, you want to give him more of that. Another issue is that you want to glorify his name. You want to give him glory. But do you see, are they one and the same? Don't you think they're two separate things? They're two separate things. So if they're two separate things, then I don't understand why he changed. So to speak, he changed his direction. Do you think you see them as being the same?
It comes together. I mean, it sounds very.
You could have both maybe. But before he didn't mention this one, and now he didn't yet mention nachas ruach. He does mention kavod. I care about Hashem's kavod.
Where do we get the idea that Hashem can take pleasure?
Right. So that was. I think you asked the question that last time also. I think so. I think so. In Perek Ches. That's a chiddush, is it not? That the person could give Hashem pleasure, and the whole issue that Hashem, you could say, has emotions. That's also a chiddush. We would say that Hashem is above all that. But Hashem in the Torah says that He does. It might be that He willed it, and it doesn't have to. I think the Ramchal, another form, Das Tunis, he explains that all these things that we see are Hashem's will. Hashem willed it. A person who has an emotion of love or compassion is because that's him. He's wired like that, and Hashem willed it so that he should be affected, so to speak, by man's actions. And it says here, you can cause Hashem happiness. Let's say the pasuk, Nachas Ruach, but the pasuk, right? Yichvod Hashem la'olam, Yizmach Hashem b'ma'asav. That the glory of Hashem should be forever. Hashem should rejoice in His creations. That means that there's kavod and simcha. And you might ask that Hashem is above any kind of human emotion. That's true, but Hashem willed that He should have that emotion. It could be it's a philosophical question that the Ramchal and Das Tunis addresses more deeply, but he does address the whole issue over here of pleasure and giving Hashem pleasure. And so much so that if it wouldn't be for this pleasure, then there wouldn't be any room for Chasidus. The whole issue of Chasidus over here is that a person wants to give Hashem pleasure. That's how he bases it in Perek Yitches. In Perek chapter 18, he says that the motivation for a person to go beyond the letter of the law is because he wants to give pleasure. If it wouldn't be that Hashem has pleasure, he wouldn't have reason to do beyond the letter of the law. Do whatever the king said. Hashem said to do this, I'll do that. Why are you doing more? Because you want to give him pleasure. So I agree that it's a chiddush, but after the chiddush, Hashem tells us that.
The union of Sraf and the Chayas of Kodesh, when they're giving, that's an union of more of honor. That doesn't seem to be that the Russian is getting pleasure from those.
True. I think that probably I don't know much about the Malachim, and I don't know, but the Iker Kavod also, and Nachas Ruach only comes from human beings because we have Bechira, we have the free choice, so that will be so much more.
So then what would that be?
Which one? Malachim.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We see, according to what we see, that Malachim are praising their Rebbeinu, they have a whole...
Because they understand, they have such a deep perception of Hashem, much more than, not of course it's endless, infinite, but they have much more than human beings, so they are so much more excited because they understand so much more. But I don't know, in the point of Hashem, is it for an honor? Baruch Kavod Hashem Mikomo. Because they realize it, so when someone realizes the reverence for something, so he automatically expresses it. But the gain, so to speak, that Hashem from a free will creation is only from human beings.
It would seem in this world that an union of the Rebbeinu getting pleasure from us would be more of a one-to-one, us to him, our relationship towards him, whereas honor would be more of our interaction with Brios and how we exemplify what the Rebbeinu is.
Exemplify or honor him?
In the way we act and the things that we do in order to bring honor to.
Right. So here he's talking about doing this.
Why would we? It seems to be that was the whole tafkid of Adam Arishan to begin with, was to conduct oneself in this world that is the way the Russian planned the world. So he gave it to Avrohom, and through his children, we do that act, and that gives honor to the Russian. The nations of the world see the Jewish nation behaving in a certain way. That's honor.
But the reason that Hashem made the Bria is not going into the reason why Hashem made the creation. The reason Hashem made creation, he says in the beginning of here, and also in Derech Hashem, that it was in order just to be benevolent and give the creation the opportunity to get close to Him, which is the ultimate good that Hashem could bestow on our creation. But here we talk about mitzidenu, like from our point, we want to give cover to Hashem because we love Hashem so much. If a person comes to that level, he loves Hashem so much. So these are the two issues that he spoke about. One is to give nachas ruach, to give pleasure, and here he talks about giving kavod. I'm just bothered because I don't see that he connects the two. He says both of them like 10 pages away. One in the beginning of the subject, he started off with this issue of nachas ruach, and here he seemingly changes it to the issue of glorifying Hashem's name. I don't see the connection yet. As we go on, we're going to see some overlap. It's going to be still confusing for me. Maybe we'll get clarity as we go on. But so far, I do agree that it comes from the same root. It comes from the fact that he loves Hashem. In both places, he says that it's rooted in love of Hashem. Over there, he said when a person loves somebody, he wants to give him pleasure. And here he says, right, we just read it, that when a person loves Hashem very much, he's chomiru misav el-gdalas kavodo. He cares, he craves for Hashem's honor because he loves him so much. So both of them are rooted in love. Without the love, it doesn't start. But there are two offshoots. One is going to be nachas ruach, pleasure, and the other one is kavod. So how come he changed his mind, so to speak? So I just pointed it out just to show express my difficulty. But maybe we'll get clarity as we go on, because he usually is very consistent and systematic and logical. So he would have a reason why he changed it. So I'm just pointing out these 2 points. Now he's going to prove the point a little bit. This point of Kfod Shemayim has been expressed in the Medrash called Tana Devei Eliyahu. That's Midrashim that Eliyahu Navi spoke to an Amora. His name I think is Rav Anan, And those are the midrashim that Eliyahu Navi spoke. Amru, it says in that medrash, Kol Chacham Yisrael sheyesh bo dvar Torah lamito, u'mesaneach al kvodo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'al kvodon shel Yisrael kol yamav, u'mes'ave u'meitzeh lechvod Yerushalayim v'lechvod Beis HaMikdash, v'la Yeshua shetitzmach b'korov u'lekinos galios, zoche u'ashor ruach HaKodesh b'kirbo, shenemar ayeh asam b'kirbo es ruach kasha. So he quotes a medrash, this son of the Eliyahu. It's not Dafka talking about his issue about Chasidus over there, the Kavanas Asiyah, but he thinks that this would be a good description of what the intention of a Chassid is. He says, any Chacham Yisrael, any sage in Am Yisrael that has true Divrei Torah, he knows the Torah to its truth, and he is sighing, mitztayer, he's bothered about the honor of Hashem. It bothers him. The glory of Hashem is issued by him that it bothers him, that if Hashem's name is not glorified enough. And about the honor of Am Yisrael, he cares about Hashem's honor, he cares about Am Yisrael's honor. He doesn't explain what does Am Yisrael have to do with anything. So far he just spoke about Hashem. How does Am Yisrael come in? But later on he's going to explain that they can't be separated. Hashem's honor is interwoven with Am Yisrael's honor. And if Am Yisrael is degraded, so it's a disgrace to Hashem's name also. But he doesn't explain it right now, we'll get to it later. But anybody, this Chacham, this wise, this sage that cares about, he knows Divrei Torah Lamito, and he's bothered about the glory of Hashem and the glory of Am Yisrael, and Mis'avo Meitzah L'chvod Yerushalayim V'L'chvod Beis HaMikdash, and he desires about the honor of Yerushalayim and the Beis HaMikdash. He desires it, and he's bothered that it's not there yet, and about the salvation that should come, and the ingathering of the exiles. Such a person, he's going to get Ruach HaKodesh. Show Ruach HaKodesh b'kirbo. So Zochel Ruach HaKodesh b'dvorot. As it says in the pasuk, Ayeh Asam b'kirbo es Ruach HaKodesh. There's a person that Hashem puts into him the Holy Spirit. A person who has these characteristics, he's going to be Zochel to Ruach HaKodesh. So it doesn't say in that medrash over there that the subject is about Kavanas HaChasidus, which is our subject. The Mesillas Yeshorim is adapting this paragraph to explain the Kavanas HaChasidus. A person who has no personal interest is not doing it for his own benefit, even not his own benefit to be close to Hashem. That's also pretty good. Or it is, as he said, not bad. But the real good would be somebody who only cares about Hashem. This is the best kind of intention, that it's very far from any kind of personal benefit. It's only for the honor of Hashem and sanctifying Hashem's name. Hashem's name is glorified, sanctified when His creations do His will. So by doing His will, you're able to glorify His name. So the kavanah, the chassid would be, the reason why I'm doing the mitzvahs is in order to glorify Hashem's name. This is what the Zohar, it's a Zohar that he's quoting. Who's a chassid? The one who does chesed with his maker. So I think that this is it might be famous, this Zohar, but I think that it's very misunderstood. People, I've heard it quoted as if, like, do Hashem a favor kind of thing. Like, you do chesed with all kinds of people, so do chesed to Hashem. You want to do chesed to all kinds of poor people, so do chesed to Hashem. It's very taken out of context. A misunderstanding of the word chesed. It doesn't mean that a person's doing chesed to Hashem. He's like, I'm a kind person, I want to be kind to everybody, I'll be kind to Hashem also. That's not the pshat of the word chesed over here. That's not, if someone thinks like that, I think he's not a chesed at all. And I think that he's not serving Hashem. He thinks he's doing Hashem a favor. The first basic thing is to know he's not doing Hashem any favors. Hashem doesn't need him, so to speak. But the chesed means, the word chesed means when a person does beyond the letter of the law. So the main chesed is a person who's maschasid kono, that he's not doing it because of his own benefit, but he's doing it because of Hashem. He cares about Hashem. He loves Hashem so much, and because he loves Hashem, he's going to do chasidus. There's a Reb Chaim Vital that he coins a lower level of a chassid, which is coming lafuke. He's coming to exclude. There's a chassid called a chassid la'atzmo. He goes beyond the letter of the law. He does all kinds of chumros and chasiduyos, but he's doing it because of himself. That's called the chassid la'atzmo. You can say also, like, maybe not bad. That's what he said before, that if someone is doing it because if he thinks that the reward is going to be some external kavod, some external reward not related to Hashem, so then we'll call him shalol lishma. He's doing it for not the real reason. But if he's doing it because he wants to get close to Hashem, but he's doing it for his own personal gain. I want to get close to Hashem. So you can call it not bad, but it's called a chassid la'atzmo. He's a chassid for his own benefit. But the real chassid is not doing it for his own benefit. He's doing it because he wants to give Hashem. We said the mashal before, I'll say it again. I think that it just explains the point again, that a son who wants to get close to his father because he enjoys being close to the father, you say it's not bad. The father himself would be pretty happy that if the son's happiness is to get close to him. Also, very nice. But there's even a better son that he wants to get close to the father in order to give the father good. Either the father pleasure or the father kavod. That's like a real dedicated son that and because he loves the father so much. That's why he goes out of his way to be a chassid to the father. So that's the point. Hamas chasidim kona. Not that he's doing the father a favor. I think it'll be a wrong translation. And I once heard a whole Shabbos drasha on this. The whole Shabbos 3 times the same drasha over again, and it was bothering me very much that a person is going to come to do avodas Hashem because he thinks he's doing Hashem a favor. Like do Hashem a favor also. I think it's very awkward and warped. That he thinks he's doing Hashem favors, and he's looking at Hashem like he needs me, and I have Rahmanis on Hashem, so to speak. That's how the speech was presented. Very, very wrong.
How's that different from giving him pleasure?
As I love him, I want to give him pleasure, not because I feel bad for him. When a person, if
Favor implies you feel bad about it?
yeah, like he needs me. He has compassion on him.
Implies a lack of something?
A favor means that he's in need.
It does.
I think so. That's the way the speech was presented. Like the same way that you'd do a favor to somebody, like all the poor people, you're doing them favors. So do Hashem a favor. To do a favor to Hashem. Be good to Hashem also. I think it's a very warped intention if a person would think that that's his relationship to Hashem. Here, it's the way the real source says is that he's going out of his way because he loves Hashem so much. If he'd say a son who's going to do to his father because he has compassion on the father, that's not the right relationship. That's not the way that it's supposed to be the father-son relationship. He loves the father so much that he wants to make him happy, he wants to give him kavod because he loves him. That would be a healthy relationship. So I think over here that's the Pashup Pshat in these words. Hamas chasidim kona.
People say, don't do me any favors. Don't do me any favors. Don't do me any favors. People say,
If you have a situation where a kid may need to have compassion on the father.
It could be, but that's not
That's if the father needs the compassion.
Right.
and also right.
So that's
and
exactly
also
what
I
he's
think
saying.
that
How could you say God needs
there's a compassion. And also I think that also wouldn't be the real relationship of this father-son son to the father. He has to care, let's say the mitzvah of kibbud avim, that it includes to feed him and dress him and escort him when he needs and put on his shoes. If he does it because his relationship to his father is that I feel bad for him and there's nobody else helping him, so I'm going to help him, but he's doing it out of compassion, I don't think that's the real mitzvah of kibbud avim. That's not the right relationship. It's supposed to be that he holds him in high regard and he has the schus to be able to take care of his needs. So when he doesn't need him, he's not going to come feed him when he doesn't need him. But when he does need him, so he's feeding him out of honor, out of respect. If someone thinks that the mitzvah of kibbud is the word kavod by translation, the word kavod means to respect. But if he's doing it's not a mitzvah of chesed. I once heard somebody was arguing the point, but it doesn't fit into the words chesed. The pasuk says, the Gemara says, kavod and mora, to honor and to revere. So the Gemara says, Ezel Mechabdo, how do you honor a father and mother? So it says, Machilo, Mashkeyu, he gives him to feed, he feeds him and he gives him to drink and he escorts him when he needs and he puts on his shoes, he puts on his clothing. So someone was saying that it's just taking care of his needs and they picked on the son to take care of the needs of the parents. But I don't think that that's honor. That he wouldn't be, I think if he'd be doing it in such a understanding, in the framework of compassion, so he didn't do honor. It's the Gemara is telling us that there are ways of honoring. The way to honor is by the way that it would be noticeable in the way that he's going to be doing it. He's doing it in an honorable way. The way that a servant would come to a king to give him food and drink and escort him because he's honoring him. So the food and drink is just a means, it's just a medium of how to honor. Not that the point is that he should get his food and drink. That there will be other ways how to get him the food and drink. But the point is a way of honoring. So that's more or less our subject tonight. Just to sum it up, this is the third part of Chasidus, which is the intention. The first part was what he does. The second one was how he does it, which was Ava and Yira. The third part is with what intention he has. So far what we learned is that he's doing it with a intention of giving Hashem honor, glory, all based on the fact that he loves him, because he loves Hashem so much, he wants to give him glory, and he's not doing it for his own personal benefit, even if his own personal benefit also wouldn't have been bad. He's doing it because he enjoys this relationship to Hashem, but that's still called not the best. The best intention would be that he's doing it because he cares about Hashem's kavod, because he loves him so much. And he brings psukim over here. He brought did he bring any psukim? No. He brought so far just this Medrash Tanat Ve'aliyah that says that a person who cares about Kvod Shamayim, Kvod Am Yisrael, Yerushalayim, Beis Hamikdash, the Yeshua, the Gula, the Kinas Golios, that's a person who is Zoch to Ruach HaKodesh, and he explains that it has nothing, no personal interest, and he also brings the Zohar that says Hamas Chasidim Kona, which I think is coming to exclude Hamas Chasidim Atzmo, that he's going out of his way to be a chassid, but he's doing it for himself, for his own benefit. That's the level that's called chassid latzmo in Reb Chaim Vital, and this is a level higher that is Hamas Chasidim Kono. There's going to be another kavanah. There's going to be two kavanahs. In this last subject, there's A and B. So far we just did A, that the kavanah is for Kvod Shamayim. There's going to be a second part that we'll see Be'ez Hashem next week. Yes, you go.